You're listening to Heritage Radio Network.
Hi everyone, welcome to Potluck Food Talks. I'm Eric. I'm here with my man, Phil, straight out of Dubai, Arab Emirates. How are you doing, man?
Salam alaikum. All good. How are you?
I went to Barcelona for a few days, running away from the high season here in San Sebastian. And I had a few super nice experiences. And I think, Barcelona is a super interesting city to eat. And I would say Catalonia as a region, I think it's also super interesting as well.
Yeah, definitely. Very underrated.
Have you explored Catalonia, Barcelona? Have you traveled around there? Not so much, right? You've never been to Barcelona,
I've never
right?
been to Barcelona. I've always wanted to go. It's like a huge... I mean, there's so many places in Spain that I haven't been. And like Spain is so fucking diverse, right? With like food and terroir and stuff like that. It's incredible. I mean, like even if you just like drive down from the Basque Country to Rioja, it's a completely different thing, right?
Absolutely.
Catalan food and culture is so unique and so special. Always wanted to go.
Yeah, if I had to define Catalan cuisine, I would say, first thing that comes to my mind is surf and turf, mar y montaña.
Yeah.
I think the expression mar y montaña, because for example in Latin America you say mar y tierra, but mar y montaña, I think that's a Catalan expression. That's not a Spanish expression, as far as I know. I went to Sitges, which is this coastal town near Barcelona. I went to this super cool restaurant called Bonestar. There were like two Catalan dishes that I wanted to do a check because I hadn't had them in a long while. I worked for a while in Barcelona with Ñaño, who was one of the first head chefs at Del Bulli just before Ferran was head chef at El Bulli. Jean-Louis Ñaño was a French chef leading the same restaurant, and he opened a restaurant called Ñaño in Barcelona, which was like a classic, was open for many decades. At some point he had 2 Michelin stars. I also worked with the Torres brothers, and I also worked with Santi Santa Maria, so that's a little bit of my Catalan cuisine background.
Yeah.
There is a thing, I mentioned mar y montaña, and the first thing that most people think is maybe, I don't know, like mixing whatever, like pork with seafood or something like that.
Yeah.
But what I had is like a completely different approach of the same thing, which was, canelones is like a very Catalan thing, as weird as it sounds. There's a very strong rice culture and pasta culture. I don't know why, but there is this very Italian thing about Catalan food that you have like this. For example, for Christmas, is that one Schnecke of English?
Snail, yeah.
Yeah, like this snail-shaped pasta cooked in a broth, and that's it. That's like a Christmas dish in Catalonia. Very simple, humble food. But yeah, canelones is a big thing. So canelones is something people cook at home. You find in Catalan restaurants. You find it high-end. You find humble versions. And this dish I had in this place was a canelones filled with mushrooms with a lobster butter sauce. Super nice. And as surf and turf as it gets. And the other thing I had is this Suquet de rape.
Very nice.
That's like I would say also that's as Catalan as it gets. It's this fish stew. I once saw a documentary with Jose Andres where he was cooking it in the beach of Rosas where El Bulli was. And he cooked it with seawater, which is something I've never seen before.
I've seen that, yeah.
He took the seawater for the stew, and it was, this is the way that the sailors would cook it traditionally, like the fishermen, I mean. And I was like, okay, that's super interesting. It's like a very tomatoey stew. It's like a little bit, like just speaking wrongly, I would define it as a paella without the rice. So you have like this strong like stock, and instead you have like potato slices. But I say like a paella because you have different types of shells, like clams and mussels. And then you have like rape, which is monkfish. And yeah, and this thing all together in a beautiful dish. That was super, super nice. A crema catalana, of course, for dessert. Also some rices,
Super nice.
some paellas. Life is just good, like some cava. That was it.
Spanish cooking in general and Spanish food in the international scene is so underrated. It's one of actually the most underrated cuisines there is, in my opinion, because although it's very well, like a lot of things are very famous, right? Everybody knows paella, everybody knows croquetas. The diversity and also the skill and the simple complexity that you find in sort of like Italian cooking, you have that in Spanish cooking also. This like super particular, like the Maro Montanya thing, these like combinations of things, and then the produce, the very unique landscape, the traditions, the mix of cultures, the Arabic influence, like all these sorts of things, they create such a unique cooking style. It's kind of very disappointing. Like nowadays, people are a little bit more aware of sort of like, this is South Italian food, this is North Italian food. But Spanish, nothing like that. It's just sort of like paella and fucking croquetas and, aioli on everything. In its essence, it's one of the most interesting and sort of deep cooking styles. Like, a lot of people always ask sort of like, if you had to choose one type of cuisine to eat for the rest of your life, I've always said like Spanish for me.
Oh, yeah. I agree with you. I agree with you with everything, except that I don't think it's underrated anymore. I think it used to be. I think it has its place, and it has gotten it like for in the last 20 years, I would say so. But I would say, yeah, like in general, if you ask like which are the great cuisines of Europe, people will say French and Italian right away, and Spain was always third place, if even, like I would say that's not the case anymore. And especially, I would say that French cuisine became boring. Italian cuisine, it will always have like an amazing place, but I don't know, like like in any of these countries you will find incredible chefs and incredible traditions, but like in general, if you go to a normal on the roadside restaurant in France, it's crap. That's just a fact, like that's very easy to verify on your own if anybody disagrees.
Don't try it, it's not worth it.
Galets is the name of the Catalan Christmas dish I was talking about. So the galets are like this little tube-shaped pasta that is like twist, and then you do almost like a meatball mixture, right? And you fill the pasta dry with this meatball kind of mixture, and then you cook it, and so while cooking it creates its own stock because of the meat, and so the pasta is cooked in its own thing. I find that to be very interesting, like those especially Christmas dishes always say a lot about a culture, there's probably a story behind that dish, like a legend, and I think I happen to find that very, very beautiful,
Absolutely.
I also went to Fismuler. Do you know Fismuler?
From hearsay, I know the name. I've obviously never been.
The chef and owner is a guy called Nino Redruello. He's a super cool guy. I had the opportunity to chat with him a couple of times through BCC, like interviews in different contexts. I have interviewed him. For example, I interviewed him talking about, he has a restaurant group in Madrid. Like his flagship is Fismuler Madrid. Mm-hmm. He also has a Fismuler Barcelona and a Fismuler Lisboa and probably some others.
They make schnitzel, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. Like that's one of his signatures. Like this milanesa, the scalope vienesa, like schnitzel basically. Up to the point that he even both in Barcelona and Madrid, they open only delivery operation for schnitzels. And then both in the Fismuler, that's one of the signatures. So they will serve you like the schnitzel, an egg yolk in the middle, and truffles. But it's like this creative restaurant. Fernando, our friend that tried to kill us in a forest, he worked with them for a while in Madrid. Like the chef of Pachi Zumarraga, who is the chef of this place called Harambure, which is a Basque restaurant in Madrid. Both of them were partners, and at some point they separated and they opened their own restaurants. Fernando apparently went with Nino to the other one. And Fernando developed the signature cheesecake that they have, inspired by Hilario Orbelaids. For those ignorant cunts that think that the Basque cheesecake has no crust, this is a Basque cheesecake with crust, runny in the middle, by the way. And so Fernando developed that dish for them like many years ago. So I had tried this cheesecake made by Fernando, but never the actual Fismuler cheesecake in Fismuler. And it was the shit, man. It was incredible. It was like over the top.
Over the top.
Super, super good. I loved it.
God damn.
Super, super good.
How did it compare to the one at Ama, for example? Which is one of the best ones that I've had so far.
Yeah, completely different. I would say, well, first of all, it has crust because, I mean, the interesting thing is that both, the one of Ama and the one of Fismuler, both were inspired by the one of Suberoa. I mean, the one of Ama took things from Suberoa and things from La Viña and created its own thing, which is the idea. People, cheesecake preachers around the world, the idea is to do your own thing, like not to try to replicate something.
If you can't tell to the listeners, we've had a lot of beef with people who have no idea what the fuck they're talking about, wanting to tell us what a cheesecake should or shouldn't be like. Which is a ridiculous thing to do in itself, yeah.
But only people from London, especially, like...
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I'm not telling you how to do your beans for breakfast or whatever you do over there, like...
It's beans for breakfast, lunch and dinner every day.
No. I'm just kidding. I love British food. Like the cheesecake from Suberoa, which I had in Suberoa, I'm really happy I was able to do that because Suberoa closed after many decades open, and that was their signature dessert, and it was a blue cheese cheesecake, and this has inspired many blue cheese cheesecakes around the world. So like there are blue cheese cheesecake where you have the blue cheese in your face and it's a thing, and there are the ones I really like is where you have just a touch that you can't even tell what it is. I would say that was the one from Fismuler had. If they tell me it was not blue cheese but something else, I would believe it. If they tell me no, this was goat cheese or whatever, but it had that aftertaste, that background thing, that a nice, like this nice cheesy flavor. And yeah, I loved it, like super, super nice. So I also had like the dishes I had there. I loved everything about the restaurant, a restaurant is nice when you see jars full of vegetables, preserves as you walk in as part of the decoration. Like we had at Margot, or I don't remember this place in Copenhagen that is also super famous where also all the decorations are preserved vegetables. In any case, yeah, you walk in, you have that feeling, nice. Then I had a lemon fish aguachile. They used a herb that I had never seen before. That is a herb that you usually find like in, like in garden shops. It's called mosaic leaf.
Mosaic leaf.
Yeah, I had never had that like in a dish. Super, super good. Then he did like a Thai curry with carrots. Also super nice, like this coconut flavors and the spiciness level very, very low, adapted to the Spanish audience. And then mussels from Saint Michel, north of Bordeaux. Like these little mussels, super nice. It reminded me of a time that you were flirting with the idea of moving to the French Britain.
Oh yeah.
And doing like I remember you telling me about a mussel dish you were brainstorming back then. It was like, I don't know, like a mussel potato salad or with a hollandaise or something like that. I remember.
I have no idea, but that sounds like something a genius would come up with.
And then the main course was lubina is cebas? Or?
Yes, it is, yes.
Yeah, acebas, So like with a Napa cabbage charcoal grilled with a super nice like kimchi butter sauce on top of it. So it was like a, how to say, like a deconstructed kimchi, so to say. Super nice as well.
Quite mixed and fusion, you know, like quite.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. That was one of those restaurants where you can't define what it is. You can't put a tag on it. Like, yeah, this is modern Italian or something. You know, like I would say cuisine docteur. Like this guy, he's I think third generation restaurateur. You know, his parents and grandparents were chefs.
Wow.
So like, and he's just like, you know, being himself, expressing himself. And that's it. Yeah, the times I interviewed him is because he has like a really interesting digital infrastructure for his restaurants, like business intelligence applied for everything, you know, artificial intelligence to predict occupations or payrolls or shifts and everything. Yeah.
Nice.
This was like 5 years ago. Yeah. Yeah, and then also, I mean, like, Barcelona is like New York, you know, like you can have like an amazing meal from pretty much any culture in Barcelona. You can find it. I think I had maybe the best Ecuadorian meal I've ever had, and a very humble mom and pop kind of restaurants. Apparently, it's like a small chain. I think they have already maybe 3 or 4 restaurants in the city. It's called Ñaño. And I had 2 very interesting Ecuadorian dishes that made me feel really interested in Ecuadorian food. One is called encebollado. So it was like a, I would compare it, you know, in the tuna episode, we talk about the marmitaco, like this tuna stew that the Basque do. It would be like that, but without the peppers and paprikas, all that away, and lots of onions. So like a very heavy tuna stock with pieces of tuna and potatoes and these kind of things. And the other, I found that to be even more interesting. It was like a stew, also of fish, but with plantains and peanuts. Super nice.
That sounds
super
really,
nice.
really good. That sounds absolutely delicious, yeah. I don't think I've ever had Ecuadorian food, honestly.
So I have like 2 Ecuadorian friends that are amazing chefs there. One is Wilmo Ordóñez and Ronald Morocho. Both of them, they have restaurants in Cuenca. And every time I cooked food made by them, it was always super delicious, you know? And I think it's a cuisine that is underrepresented. You know, like you see a lot of things about Peruvian, you know, like, or Brazilian or Mexican, but Ecuador is like, you know, like a little bit on the side, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of gets forgotten between those like sort of bigger nations a little bit. Yeah.
And that was my trip to Barcelona.
Nice. Do you have any experience like going to places like Calpep, and these sort of like bar, sort of like counter places in Barcelona? I've always really wanted to go.
Like tapas bars.
Pretty much, where you have you look into the kitchen, right? You've got like planchas, etc. You know, there's a really famous one called Calpep, which actually a restaurant. I don't know if you know the restaurant in London called Barafina. I used to work there for a little while, and they modeled their whole like restaurant, like the first restaurant that they opened. They modeled it after Calpep, where you have this like long counter. You don't have any tables. Right? You can't sit down. You just sit at the counter. You see the chefs cooking the stuff. They literally just put it in front of you. It's super, super nice. It's like an institution.
I know the place, but I haven't been there. But I've walked by and I've heard things about it. But yeah, from this kind, I've been to Pinotxo Bar. This is a place that I think it was popularized, well, at least in my view, by Ferran Adrià. You know, because in different documentaries or episodes or things, he goes there. This used to be in the Boqueria market, but it moved to another market, the market of Sant Antoni. Super nice place, always super crowded. But yeah, look. I was actually Googling it shortly, and I find a picture of Ferran Adrià greeting the old man at Pinotxo. Yeah, you get here like simple, like counter tapas, just well made, Lately, Ultramarinos Marín has become like a thing, like everybody like in the chef and foodie world is talking about that place.
Everybody's talking about it, yeah. It looks so good, honestly.
Well, same thing. Very produce-driven kind of bar. You go there, you get just incredible seafood, simply cooked, served right away. It has to be very expensive, Like I haven't seen. They have no prices in the webpage or anything, and it has 4 stars in Google reviews. For me, that makes me think that it's overly expensive, like, and that makes probably some people angry the moment the bill arrives.
For sure, especially in Spain, where the good food can be so extremely cheap, especially when you go to a bar. It's absolutely incredible. No, you eat and you eat and you eat, you get the bill. It's like 15 euros with drinks, and you're like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, but I think that the first time I saw this place was by Kevin went there.
Yeah, it's a friend of his, no?
I had no idea about that.
I think so. I think they know each other.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, sure.
But yeah, it's definitely on my bucket list. I really want to go. Everything they do looks absolutely amazing. Super fish focused, like fish, seafood focused. And it looks super, super cool.
Yeah, we should plan a trip to Barcelona, man.
We really should.
And I mean, like, I know, like, you always say, like, I don't want to go to this place because everybody goes there. But I would definitely like to have, like, these checks of this.
I never said anything like that.
No, I'm talking about going to places like Disfrutar and...
Okay.
I would like to go to those places, even though I know they're overly expensive and overly hyped at the moment. I think Disfrutar was named number 1 in the world like last year or this year again. I don't know.
Yeah, it's true. They were, yeah.
I'm not updated with those lists anymore, but I know that... because these restaurants became like the new bougies, like bougie doesn't exist anymore, so you have like these places. El bougie has this impact in Barcelona, similar to the impact of Noma in Copenhagen, where you get to see a lot of these places that were opened by ex-head chefs. You have Dos Palillos by Albert Rauric. You have like this place of roasted chicken that was opened by Eugenie, something that was also head chef at El Bulli, Disfrutar, Enigma. What's the other one? This Mexican place that used to be Hoja Santa.
Oh, yeah.
If it's still open, I'm not sure. But yeah, like the ex El Barri group places, like all over the cities. It's like a thing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just obvious, no? I mean, El Bulli affected the whole culinary world in every corner of the world. Obviously, in their hometown. I mean, hometown, no? Like the biggest city close to them. It's going to be the biggest impact. Just like Noma is a good example, And like people need to remember that without El Bulli, Noma wouldn't exist.
And my favorite place in Barcelona, I have to say, it's a place called Teoric Taverna. It's a place I have to be a little bit jealous or envious. Let me check again the name of the chef. I know the guy, actually. Oriol Casals. Yeah. So this guy, why I'm jealous? Because he did what I dreamt about doing while in Berlin. I wanted to do exactly the same concept, man. That was like a restaurant. It's not a restaurant and it's not a tapas bar, but it's something in between. It's like a tapas omakase. Okay, so you go to this place and you have only a tasting menu, but every dish will be just a tapa. So you get that, one snack, that's it. Next, next, and you have like I think they offer you choose the length of the menu. So I think there are 3 lengths. I don't know. Let's say 9, 12, and 15, something like that, with different prices. Only a tasting menu, and he really showcases Catalan culture in a very elegant and fine execution. I had a lot of fun eating there. I think it's like and also the place is like very centric, very in the middle of everything, but it's basically like a like a cave, like a little hole in the city where he opened like in a floor like there you have it. A dining room and kitchen, everything in just like not a very big space. But yeah, that's, if I had to recommend something, that's actually a place I recommend every time people ask me about places in Barcelona. That's one I say.
Yeah, nice. That sounds amazing.
Let me check my rec list because I have some other places that I usually recommend in Barcelona to see if I'm forgetting anything. Bar Gèlida, man. Yeah. I think if you go to Barcelona, that should be like, if you want to go like a surviving the last of the dinosaurs, staying, the last of the Mohicans that is still alive, that's Bar Gèlida. It's the only old school, authentic, real, delicious, cheap, working class oriented, in the middle of the city kind of place that still exists, where you go and you get like incredible food for nothing, for peanuts, for €5 you eat lunch, like. But yeah, it's not a secret, so it's always completely packed, like overly packed.
I'm looking at it now. It looks really good. It looks just like the sort of place you want to go. There's like no bullshit, tasty food, tripe, dishes written on chalkboard, like just amazing.
Barrels hanging on the rooftops with sweet wine, like things you see like in many old towns around Spain.
Yeah.
But as a city that was eaten by gentrification like Barcelona, like that's also something worth mentioning, like Barcelona has become like this theme park, like Barcelona City.
Hipster Central.
Yeah, Airbnb Central, avocado toast, brunch, specialty coffee, where there used to be a place like Bar Gèlida. Now there's that, like, which is super sad, like culture displacement, I will define it, like all of the places, that would showcase local culture were displaced by this kind of, I mean, it's nice having an avocado toast brunch with a specialty coffee, but it's not nice that these things displace the local culture,
No, absolutely. It's just like, it's a really interesting topic actually, because it's kind of like, while the sort of like specialty coffee places and stuff bring good things, like I was thinking about that the other day. It's kind of like, man, the quality of coffee that we're drinking and the quality of coffee that's like available, where I order like a fucking, like a Chemex or like a AeroPress or even like a flat white, and I drink the coffee and it's like single origin. It smells like blueberries. It's like the quality of coffee is amazing. And like, those things, they're cool, but it's such a fragile ecosystem, right? These places come in and they displace local culture, and that is like a big sort of like red flag, right? If it like enriches everything, cool, but it like, if it starts displacing things that have been there for a really long time, I think you have to be really careful with that.
That's it for this week's episode of Potluck Food Talks. If you like what we're doing, make sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok as Potluck Food Talks. The show airs every Monday.